Welcome, dear listeners, to a tale that begins with an ordinary farm, a devoted horse, and a quiet pond that holds an unexpected secret. Have you ever noticed how nature has a way of surprising us, turning the familiar into something extraordinary? Today we unravel the mystery of a peculiar bond between a horse and a seemingly unremarkable body of water, a bond that puzzled a farmer, baffled a vet, and led to a discovery that no one saw coming. Stay with us as we dive into the curious case of Blue and the enigmatic pond that changed everything. Every morning, as the sun rose over his quiet farm, Elijah noticed his horse, Blue, standing knee-deep in the pond. Initially, he thought it was just Blue's way of cooling off, but as days turned into weeks, Elijah grew concerned. Why was his horse drawn to the water every single day? He decided to call the local vet, suspecting Blue might be ill. When the vet arrived and saw what was happening in the pond, his face turned ashen with surprise. But before we start, smash the like button and make sure to subscribe. When it was still hot outside, Farmer Elijah could fully understand his horse using the water in the pond to cool down. However, he grew worried when the horse kept doing this even as the temperatures quickly dropped. When he found that the animal had broken the ice covering the water just to get into the pond, he knew something had to be wrong. Elijah called his regular veterinarian for assistance and tried to explain the strange behavior of his horse. The man was surprised as well, but had a very busy schedule for the next few days and couldn't visit anytime soon. Not wanting to wait, Elijah was referred to another vet in the area, someone he had never dealt with before. Despite his reservations, Elijah got in contact with the new vet, who agreed to visit the next morning. That evening, Elijah managed to get the horse back to the barn with great effort, but felt uneasy about merely locking it inside. With time to spare before the vet's visit, Elijah decided to investigate the pond himself. He returned to the small pond, pondering what could be so special about the place. Thin shards of ice floated on the water, starting to melt as the temperature rose slightly. From the surface, nothing seemed unusual. It looked like a normal pond, similar to many others on his and his neighbor's land. Elijah contemplated whether he needed to go into the water himself or have it tested for any strange components affecting his horse's behavior. Feeling a sense of urgency, Elijah shared his concerns with his neighbors. To his surprise, they revealed similar oddities. Their horses, like Blue, were inexplicably drawn to various ponds despite the cold. They hadn't considered consulting a vet, and Elijah's story piqued their interest. That night, Elijah lay awake, troubled by the day's revelations. Outside, the sound of Blue's desperate attempts to break free and return to the pond echoed hauntingly. At dawn, Elijah found Blue visibly exhausted and agitated. The vet arrived and observed the scene. Examining Blue proved challenging due to the horse's agitation. Together, Elijah and the vet visited neighboring farms where they observed similar behavior in other horses. Despite thorough examinations, the vet found no health issues or behavioral anomalies aside from the horse's inexplicable attraction to the water. Back at his farm, Elijah insisted on testing the pond water. Though initially skeptical, the vet agreed to take a sample for analysis and promised to share the results soon. As the vet departed, Elijah stood by the pond, enveloped in anxiety and puzzlement, staring into its enigmatic waters. As the weather improved slightly, Elijah decided to release Blue from the barn. Instantly, the horse made a beeline for the pond. Helpless, Elijah watched as Blue waded into the water, torn between concern and curiosity about what lay beneath the surface. The vet's arrival the next morning brought no immediate relief. Blue's exhaustion and irritability complicated the examination, and the vet's inability to provide answers deepened Elijah's sense of helplessness. Determined, Elijah urged the vet to conduct a thorough investigation of the water. A sample was sent to the lab, leaving Elijah to wait anxiously for the results. Days passed, and Blue's behavior grew increasingly intense. The horse seemed content only when near or in the water, further deepening Elijah's concern and curiosity. Compelled by an overwhelming blend of emotions, Elijah decided to take a bold step. He resolved to personally experience the pond's mysterious allure. With a deep breath, Elijah cautiously stepped into the cold water. Almost immediately, he felt a startling sensation of numerous tiny bites. Recoiling, Elijah quickly exited the pond and observed countless tiny fish surfacing in the water. Catching one, he examined it closely. It was small and seemingly harmless, yet it held the key to the mystery. Research revealed these fish were a species known for feeding on dead skin cells, likely introduced to the area by migratory birds. This revelation explained the horses' attraction to the ponds. The fish provided a sensation the animals found irresistible. Elijah wasted no time sharing his discovery with his neighbors. The news brought a collective sense of relief and closure. The mystery of the horses' strange behavior was finally solved, allowing the community to take steps to manage the situation. The understanding of what was happening in the ponds shifted the community's perspective. The horses were not in danger. They were simply enjoying the sensation provided by the fish. This knowledge alleviated the fears that had been brewing among the farmers. The discovery of the invasive fish species turned the baffling mystery into a fascinating example of a natural phenomenon. Inspired by Elijah's efforts, the community began working together to monitor the ponds and discuss ecological implications. They sought advice from wildlife experts and implemented sustainable practices to control the fish population without harming the ecosystem. Elijah's farm became a focal point for environmental education and awareness. The discovery encouraged the community to be more observant and appreciative of their natural environment. They recognized the importance of every creature in the ecosystem, no matter how small. Elijah's experience transformed his perspective, deepening his connection to the land and understanding of the delicate balance needed for a healthy ecosystem. The journey from mystery to understanding brought a sense of harmony between the community and their natural surroundings. Elijah and his neighbors embraced their role as caretakers of the land, fostering a relationship with nature based on respect, understanding, and coexistence.